whoever advised him, his dad, they did him a disservice.
Matter of fact, I was there for the money, and I'm stealing your money.
Miami gave him $4.3 million. Did they watch this game against us?
You don't have to be great.
This Nico situation continues to get a lot more interesting. Now we have Shannon Sharpe, Cam Newton speaking on it, and even you got Lane Kiffin speaking on some NIL stuff. So we're going to update you, and I think the first place that we're going to start is that Nico finally addressed everything, and he really did on Instagram, a very Gen Z way to do it. But hey, welcome to the era that we're in. We're going to hop right into it. Appreciate y'all watching these videos. If you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy daily college football content and updates. Man, if you don't know Nico, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name because I don't want to disrespect your Polynesian lineage. He had a little snafu, had a little problem. Apparently, it was said from Josh Pate that he was trying to sit out since the college football playoff games to get more money. When you see people like Carson Beck and others and Tulane quarterbacks, yada yada, getting $4 million a year supposedly, it gets you itching. It gets you thinking, hey man, if I'm gonna be a starting quarterback in an SEC school, you know what I'm saying? Let me get my chicken right. He signed a record-breaking deal back, obviously, in his freshman year for Tennessee, and then coming up for the re-up when the market has gotten changed up, he wants what's owed to him. Now, a lot of people, especially a lot of SEC people, weren't very happy with him. Hey, man, I'm pro NIL. I'm pro transfer portal. I definitely think somebody wasn't advising him well from the optic standpoint, but nothing wrong with getting your bag. Please go get your bag. But the problem is all the fallout has had people saying nasty things about Nico, his family, and really, I think it's disrespectful. Look, I get we love college football, but the fact that people are so comfortable saying terrible things about these 18 to 22-year-olds, it makes me feel a certain way. You know what I'm saying? These are guys playing football. This is a guy who gave it his all when he was playing, and that is what he said. Because remember, Josh Pate was talking about, he wants to sit out, all this other stuff, and it seems like Nico's camps vehemently, I don't know, that's out of my word bracket, disagree with that statement, because Nico finally speaks. This was yesterday. He says, dang, I tried to sit out and throw the playoff game, huh? And this is obviously him playing an Ohio State game. These boys just make me laugh, man. Ain't no way. Basically calling out the fact, and there he goes. He says, me and Navy Schuler. I don't know the Instagram names, but I'm sure that's a player there. Talking about how I'm going to throw this game real quick. And I do want to point out two things. I want to point out probably the biggest thing. Tennessee has been losing a lot of players in the transfer portal. First off, that's just going to happen. I mean, they've been losing starters. They've been losing Squirrel Wrights and all those people. Like, they've been losing a lot of that. So maybe something else comes out about Tennessee in the situation. I don't know. But on top of that, a lot of the ex-Tennessee players, of course, they've been supporting them. Even some Tennessee players have been supporting them. The only people that are throwing this much, I think, anger and vitriol at them, and I'm sure there's definitely players that are feeling the type of way. Make no mistake about it. But it's a lot of the fans doing some nasty stuff. So obviously him being a kid of this generation, basically, again, these are kids, these are 18, 20, these are young men, right, trying to navigate through life. They're gonna post an Instagram. Yeah, they're gonna sub you on IG. That's what they do. But continuing forward, I like that he's coming out and defending himself. But the family is also coming out and defending themselves. It says Nico's people maintain they've done nothing to steer him wrong. This is from Front Office Sports. Even still, Iamaleava, please, Iamaleava, because I know there's people in my comments. Y'all been helping me out. First off, appreciate y'all in my comments. Y'all give me whole pronunciations. I've tried it multiple times. I just embarrassed myself. So Iamaleava, I'm gonna try Nico Iamaleava. I'm going to just kind of float over the M there. Camps refuses to relinquish control, blaming Tennessee and the school's Spire Sports NIL collective for his situation. His representation hasn't steered him wrong. The family friends say, at the end of the day, what did we do wrong to steer him and put him in a bad situation? We didn't. Well, that doesn't sound very self-aware. Anyway, exclusive. Nico Iamaleava. I'm gonna just stop. Hey, Nico, I already apologize. Cam says he did not push for more NIL money from Tennessee. The narratives was bull. A family friend involved in the negotiations tell Front Office Sports, though other sources dispute the claim. Now, here is the problem, though. Again, y'all know me, pro NIL, pro transfer portal, yada, yada, yada. Tings, oh my goodness, I just smacked the mic. I apologize to you in your headphones. Tings the advocate. This is BS, what you're saying. Coming out with all these different – there's too many cooks in the kitchen. That's what I'm gonna say. If everybody is saying, oh well, Nico has some family friends, like this isn't his dad that was apparently supposed to do. Why isn't the dad or the agent or this is a family friend involved with the negotiations? I think that right there is the problem here. It's not Nico. It's not even necessarily his family. It's the NCAA not saying, maybe we should, I don't know, force these agents to be, regulated somehow. Maybe they should be licensed somehow because you don't need a license to be an NIL agent. Maybe we should vet some of these people. Maybe we should allow these 18-year-olds, if they're going to sign contracts as individuals, if that's what's happening. Again, I'm not saying that, y'all shouldn't be able to, look over an 18-year-old. I'm not saying that in the slightest, or a 22-year-old. If that's, you should have that relationship. But what I'm saying is NCAA has to, take an ish or get off the pot. You know what I'm saying? We got to make up our decision. Instead, we have family friends talking to front office, but like, why? This is how narratives get spun, Nico. So if I will tell you anything, man, let's tighten up the ship because it's just too much. It's coming from this person, from that person, and Exhibit A right here. Tennessee quarterback UCLA is expected to transfer. Tennessee quarterback Nico is expected to transfer to UCLA. This has not been confirmed. Everybody says family claims it's not about the money. Tennessee, and they just like UCLA. That's close to home. Yada yada yada. And another thing came out recently, and this is what I'm saying. Like, there's too many stuff. Like where they were saying that, oh yeah, Nico's camp was saying that we don't want to be in a Josh Heupel offense. Which there's 2 points there. That's a good point because people are like, oh my God, Josh Heupel has produced NFL quarterbacks, and what have they done? Hendon Hooker, the perennial backup, Joe Milton can throw the ball far. That's it. Y'all got a long throw. Look, it's a rudimentary offense. It's worse than Ole Miss. Give Jackson Dart his credit. It is a one-step, one-read, RPO sometimes, super wide split gimmick offense. So no, it does not produce great NFL talent. What it does, it gets good numbers. It allows quarterbacks to throw lots of touchdowns, which, like, I'm going to continue, even though I'm being fair, which Nico couldn't do. It's a very easy system. He couldn't do it. Now, there could be an argument for the real quarterback guru. That's not my argument, but there's an argument out there for, like, those type of guys that, hey, Nico's this type of quarterback. He's 6'6". He really wants to be able to get into his hitch step, really get his timing, and he wasn't able to do that. This would be the argument. He wasn't able to do that in this rudimentary one-step offense, and on top of that, it limits his ability to really stretch the field the way he wants to do. That could be the argument from a quarterback's guy in my head, but at the same time, we got to remember these stats, son. He didn't even throw for 3,000 yards, 19-5. On touchdowns to interceptions, and he's not a true freshman or nothing, son. This was his first year starting all games, but you know what I'm saying? Like this was a guy who had Heisman potential coming into the season, and it really seemed like he squandered that. So, look, family saying it's not about the money. They're saying about offense and this and that, and my issue is that it's just too much. There's too many. You know what I'm saying? What is the narrative? What is true, Nico? If you kept it tight, you know what I'm saying? You probably either should have just done the Instagram posts. Hey, just do it. Hey, smack them on. Hey, man. Matter of fact, I was there for the money, and I'm stealing your money. That's what I wish you would have done. But hey, live your life. Do it how you do it. Now let's hear from Shannon Sharpe, and if we have time, we can pop in here to what's it called, Mr. Cam Newton. But I really want to get into this. Lane Kiffin talking spicy. Lane Kiffin is always talking spicy, dog. I swear. But let's hear Unc, and then they also have ISO Joe in here talking about in general NIL ruining sports, starting off of the Nico.
See the kid from Tennessee. Iamaleava, because you should have known by the name. Iamaleava. He did it. But Joe, I mean, you see, he's gonna get 2.4. Now he wanted 4. I don't believe he's going to get that. It seems like UCLA, nobody's going to give him that because they're like, where you going to go? So now, Ocho, remember I told you, I sure hope he got a $4 million offer lined up because if whoever advised him, his dad, his agent, his cousin, whomever, they did him a disservice.
Yeah. They did. And obviously, for a minute, I thought normally, especially somebody like that, if you're as good as you think you are, but you snatched up the next day, it's not gonna problem. It got to a point where I thought the colleges were in cahoots. I thought they were in cahoots trying to prove a point and not give him a deal or not sign him. Because most of the time, all the money is already taken care of. All the money is accounted for.
Yeah.
At this point. But obviously, him going down to the UCLA, I'm sure they gave him something. I know it's nowhere close to 4.
No. You ain't got nowhere else to go. Why would I give you that?
He should have stayed at Tennessee,
Hey, we living in different times, man. We living in different times. I don't even know how do you fix, the NIL, because what it seems is it's just no loyalty in it. Guys are just going wherever the bag at. If you tell me you got a bag, I'm on there. And
Joe, this is what the coaches do. Coaches do it all the time. They do it all the time. They get a bet offer somewhere.
I know, man, but these are kids, and it's hard to, at 18, 19 years old, man, making these type of decisions, bro. Like, this is tough because once you get there, if you go in there for the money and it don't turn out how you plan, then, you can only blame yourself. But I couldn't imagine, man. Could y'all imagine, the money being like it is in college when y'all was coming out of high school? Ocho, can you imagine going to college and they enticing you with this type of, money? What would it be like?
Man, I ain't
gonna lie to you. I'm gonna take less money to go to a place that's gonna. Why would I go to a team that run the wishbone if I'm a receiver? I'm gonna go somewhere they're gonna showcase me. Because at the end of the day, yes, I want to get money, but Ocho, I want to go to the NFL. Hell,
I want to stop you right there. I'm gonna let him keep going, but we just talked about this. But go ahead.
College was not my ultimate destination.
Right.
The NFL is. So if I go to a place that don't highlight or showcase what I can do,
I don't even think some of these kids thinking about the NFL right now at this point because in football, you got to go to school at least for 3 years anyway, right? So they're not even thinking about the NFL. Right? They're just thinking about how can I make the most money right now as a freshman, sophomore, or junior, whatever the case may be. And it works out for some, but it's gonna hurt a lot of them guys, man.
Yeah. But a lot of times, Ocho, when we grew up, it didn't take a whole lot of money. It didn't take no millions for us. Hell, you could have gave us 10,000. What?
Hey,
well, that's a
my
lot.
grandma ain't make 10,000 a year. You imagine somebody just hand me $10,000 and say we're gonna give you $1,000 or $2,000 a month, boy.
I
guarantee you we got a house with running water. The next day.
Hey, Ocho, I got that Pell Grant every month for $2,900. Boy, I thought I was balling.
Hey,
I get a Pell Grant. I get a Pell Grant every month for $2,900. I should send my mom about $1,400. Keep the rest. I'll be balling for a couple weeks. Next thing you know, you look up, you see me in the calf again. I'll be back in there eating that cafeteria. I'll be back in there eating that cafeteria food. I just spent all that.
Hey, you can tell when everybody got the work study. See, we got work study. We didn't get Pell Grant. We got work study check. Man, everybody, they go to get the wing. They eat their red lobster. They go in the Rhines to get that buffet. Give them 2 weeks.
Hey.
Everybody got them trays up in that line.
Hey, that was me. I ain't gonna even lie.
Man. That's funny, man. Obviously, I'm not as old as Unc is, but that does take me back to my college days when I was on campus before the pandemic ended everything. But not important. What is important is I actually want to speak on some of these things. I want to speak on some of the stuff that was said because I honestly agree. I think sometimes, especially with the older generation, quote unquote, specifically on this thing, I think on the NIL transfer portal thing, I feel like we are the younger and the older generation, specifically the younger generation, as in the kids playing and the older looking onto it. I feel like it's almost like a forced conflict because they both agree. I think it's interesting that they're not talking about, oh my God, these players, they shouldn't be paid. And that's never what they say. I am genuinely shocked as someone who grew up watching ESPN as long as I've watched it, watching the pushback from even this happening and all this stuff. And then now seeing some of the outcomes of, the NIL, of the transfer portal. I am blatantly shocked that, we're at a point where, even these parts of the generation, they're looking at it almost positively, right? They're like, hey, these are the ways that we can get it done once we have regulation, once we have these things. But it's never like a true, nah, I ain't messing with it. I ain't really messing with it for real. And I think that is an interesting place to be at when we look at sports and we look at the coverage in general. That, hey, look, there is still a collective agreement on, hey, we can make this make sense, but right now it's not. However, somebody who has been, I think, pretty vehemently against the transfer portal, against NIL, has to be our guy, Lane Kiffin. And we're going to watch this. I love Lane, man. He cries and complains on Twitter, man, and he's always snapping back at people. He is a 16-year-old in a 47-year-old's body. I don't know how old Lane Kiffin is, but here's what he has to say about Carson Beck getting $4 million.
It's crazy, Coach, that you bring up the NFL structure with college now because they're under contract. They're making money. They're making millions of dollars. I think down in Miami, what's Carson Beck?
4.3.
4.3 million. I think my biggest year was 6. He's a college kid. So, like, you bring up the comparison of what they're doing. They're really getting NFL money.
Miami gave him $4.3 million.
That's what the evaluation says. Hey,
did they watch this game against us?
You don't have to be great, Coach.
Oh, jeez. Here's my problem with Lane. Lane likes to poke at people. He likes to poke at Nick Saban. He likes to poke at Kirby. He likes to poke at Sark. He likes to poke at players. He will go full blast on players on Twitter. He's a nasty guy. You know me and how I feel about Carson Beck. I think he's painfully mid. But he's not a bad quarterback. All right? Carson Beck's not a bad quarterback. As a Texas fan, I can't say much. He shut us up. Well, not technically the second time. The backup did it. But, hey, he handled business. Now, he was terrible in the games against us because our defense was coming. But goddamn Quinn Ewers. Anyway, not the point. But for real, Carson Beck, I think, is a respectful quarterback. But by all intents and purposes, a one-year guy, one and done, who was supposed to be an NFL guy, coming off of I wouldn't say major injury, but coming off of an arm injury for a quarterback, it's not. Wait, is it not his throwing arm? Somebody correct me in the comments. If it's not his throwing arm, then you might be, you know what I'm saying, everything might be crispy coral and copacetic. But 7,826 passing yards, 52 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, 156 QBR, 68% completion rate, 24-3 record, 2023 second team All-SEC, SEC champion. Not a bad resume. But, you know, Lane's always got to have something to say, man. But regardless, I just think that's interesting because clearly Nico, the number was supposed to be $4 million because of Carson Beck, just that connection there. I'm happy that Carson Beck got to speak out, but I think some of the things like I was speaking on earlier with Shannon Sharpe is like there does have to come to a point where we look at these kids. Well, not even look at these kids, right? Because you know me, I'm more of a proponent of the NCAA is the person that needs to get done, right? But in the current process, we need to look at that and say, how can we stop that, right? We do have to admit that these are younger kids. We do have to admit there's a lot of money being promised. And, you know, people want to yell and complain about regulations, but people like Lane Kiffin are fine using them, getting transfers, doing everything else in between. So it's a nasty situation. I'm hoping the Nico situation gets sorted out. I'm hoping he's doing okay. He's out there posting on IG and stuff like that. Like, for real, like this is a lot of hate coming his way. That really needs to be pointing towards the NCAA for allowing some stuff like this happen. But hey, man, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy college football content, everything else in between. Where should Nico go? Do you think Nico's just going to go ahead and sell in UCLA? Holla at me if you hear me. You're great, so keep being a guy with it.